Isaiah Thomas starts the Hoosiers. Isaiah. Oh, what a steal by Kellogg to Penn. Touchdown. Carter Scott, uncontested. Herb Williams. And Isaiah Thomas putting on a clinic in the last 3 minutes.
Hey, I'm Billy Baldwin, and this is CSTV's Retrovision. On January 18th, 1981, while the country waited nervously for news that the Iran hostage crisis would soon come to an end, much of the nation sought distraction by tuning into this Retrovision game. Indiana and Ohio State were tied at the top of the Big Ten Conference standings, and this midseason matchup would give one of them the edge. For Bobby Knight, it was another opportunity to face his alma mater. Knight earned 10 letters in 3 sports in his years as a Buckeye and was a sophomore substitute on OSU's 1960 NCAA championship team. On this visit to Columbus, he brought a tough Hoosier team led by 6'1" sophomore sensation Isaiah Thomas. The Buckeyes featured a couple of stars of their own, including sophomore Clark Kellogg and the man who joins me here today, former NBA star and current Knick assistant coach Herb Williams. Herb.
Glad to be with you, bro.
Can't tell you how cool it is to have you here.
Thank you.
Listen, you're one of 9 players who served at least an 18-year tenure in the NBA. You had a terrific NCAA career. You put up sensational numbers. I was wondering if you would want to comment on the specifics of this game and the impact that it certainly had on that season and maybe even on your career.
Well, the one thing I remember about this game most of all is an Indiana team coming in, well coached with Bobby Knight, the intensity, their style of play, which is very physical, a lot of picks, a lot of down picks, a lot of back picks. So you had to be ready to play that. And then what it meant, if you lost 2 or 3 games early in the Big Ten season and then sort of at the end of the season you was sort of scrapping to try to win the Big Ten title. Knew Indiana would be there at the end of the year. Knew they were bringing in a good team. They had good players with Isaiah, Randy Whitman, Landon Turner, Ray Tolbert. So you had to be ready to play. One of the better teams in the Big Ten. So it was just the electricity, Sunday afternoon. And we also had a very good team ourselves. You know, as you mentioned, Clark Kellogg, Jim Smith. So it was just a very intense rivalry.
Hey, Big Ten basketball, it doesn't get better than that, right? Hey, Herb's going to join us for the action and give us some more insight at the half. So let's go check out the game, okay? Hey, it's OSU versus Indiana right here on CSTV's Retrovision.
Indiana and Ohio State in a K-Big Ten game. Now let's meet the players.
Okay, we're going.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the starting lineups for today's game. Number 30 for Indiana, F forward, a 6'8" junior from Galveston, Indiana, Ted Kitchell. Number 23 for Ohio State, F forward, a 6'9" senior from Cleveland, Ohio, Jim Smith. Number 34 for Indiana, F forward, a 6'8" senior from Indianapolis, Indiana, Steve Risley. Number 33 for Ohio State at forward, a 6'7" sophomore from Cleveland, Ohio, Clark Kellogg. Number 45 for Indiana at center, a 6'9" senior from Anderson, Indiana, Ray Tolbert. Number 32 for Ohio State at center, a 6'10" senior from Columbus, Ohio, Herb Williams. Number 20 for Indiana at guard, a 6'3" sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Jim Thomas. Number 24 for Ohio State at guard, a 5'9" senior from Columbus, Ohio, Todd Penn. Number 11 for Indiana at guard, a 6'1" sophomore from Chicago, Illinois, Isaiah Thomas. And number 20 for Ohio State at guard, a 6'3" sophomore from Port Washington, Ohio, Larry Huggins. The head coaches for Indiana, Bobby Knight, and for Ohio State, Eldon Miller.
Two well-matched physical teams. They played twice last year. Ohio State won by 1 point here. Indiana won in overtime at Bloomington. And we'll have the opening tip-off from Columbus, Ohio, right after this word. The Indiana starting 5 already on the court. The 2 Thomas boys in the backcourt, Tolbert at center and Kitchell and Risley. At forward for Ohio State, Todd Penn, the smallest man in the Big Ten at 5'9" at one guard with Larry Huggins. It'll be Smith, Kellogg with a center Williams, a powerful front line. It was interesting in the sportsmanship introductions used in the Big Ten, as you see the officials, Weiler, Brown, and Harmon, where the players shook hands. The coaches did not. Knight and Eldon Miller, perhaps not the best of friends. Will pursue that point. Ohio State will play it from the backcourt. Huggins with Penn. Four of the starters back from the Ohio State team last year. Kelvin Ramsey, the All-American, the only graduate. Huggins with Jimmy Thomas. Outside to Smith. Penn with Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas with a steal. No advantage. Sets up Jimmy Thomas. Tolbert, Risley. Indiana leads 2-0.
By Steve Risley.
Nick, you can see that Kitchell is not going to be guarding Jim Smith at all today.
Smith not a scorer away from the basket, so Indiana will slough off that extra man and try to double up on Herb Williams inside.
Well, the good thing about it is Jim Smith understands that he plays within his limitations.
Risley with a steal. He almost misjudged his lead, but able to score anyway. So Steve Risley has all 4 points, and Indiana puts on defensive pressure. 2 steals, 2 baskets. Knocked away by Risley.
Excellent overplay defense down on the sideline. Indiana really denying the ball well.
Eldon Miller wants more scoring from his guards. Huggins and Penn serving in that capacity. This is Penn. They leave him alone. Doesn't take the shot. Inside and knocked away. Indiana had it for a moment. Kellogg picked up the loose ball. Kellogg fresh from a 42-point performance against Northwestern. That was most points for a Buckeye in 17 years. He scores, no basket. A foul before the shot on 34 Risley. Eldon Miller, his last game, his last win Thursday night was his 300th coaching victory at the age of just 41. Bobby Knight won his 300th last year at 39, the youngest ever to pick up 300 wins in major college basketball. Miller not that far behind.
Eldon Miller has won more games on the road in the Big Ten in the last 4 years than any coach.
Larry Huggins makes it 4-2. Inside to Thomas. Beautiful feed from Risley.
Billy, it looks like Indiana's perking. I spoke to Bobby Knight before the game, and I said, how many losses do you think you'll take to win the Big Ten? He said 1.
There you have Jimmy Smith going inside on Kitchell.
And Smith scores. It's 8-2. How many losses do you think the Big Ten champion will have, Coach?
5 or 6. Last year, Indiana won a clear cut with 5 losses. Well, I mean, clear cut, they were the only winner, no co-champ.
6 before the score. Indiana with the ball and the lead. Tolbert working on Herb Williams makes it 8-4. His first 2.
That's a tough matchup for Williams because Tolbert can go outside, and we'll see that Ohio State has decided to use Smith in the low post with Kitchell on him, taking Williams outside.
Todd Penn, he beat Isaiah Thomas with some fine dribbling.
5'8", Todd Penn. You measure a man from his neck up.
Inside. And Risley scores again. He has 6 points. He had a big game against Ohio State in overtime at Bloomington in the finale last year. And Bobby Knight, playing a hunch, starts him today. Huggins. Rebound, Isaiah Thomas. Thomas at 6'1" was the second leading rebounder last year. And he sends up Jimmy Thomas.
You really can't let Isaiah take the ball the length of the court. He's going to make something happen right there. Nobody even contested him until he got to the foul line.
12-6, the Buckeyes trail. Kellogg looking for his first points. Herb Williams, all Big Ten center, not there. Kellogg, a great offensive rebounder, picks one off. Uh-oh, turned it over. Indiana goes the other way.
So the people understand, a palm is when a person puts his hand on the side of the ball. When you're dribbling a basketball, you're only allowed to dribble from the top of the basketball.
Jimmy Thomas, Fort Lauderdale, Florida with the ball. Isaiah Thomas posting up on Huggins. Rebound Kellogg. Here come the Buckeyes. Todd Penn.
That was just hustle. Just better hustling, Dick. Penn really took off. Really surprised at the IU players just taking their time going back down court.
Kellogg's rebound setting up Penn's 4th point. Risley kicked by Kellogg, but he got away with it. Penn. And the foul's on Isaiah Thomas. Very good call. Let's go back to Todd Penn's hustle and basket.
Here he is hustling. Now, obviously, he's got more speed, but you can't take the chances Risley did to try to block it at the end. Penn just out-hustled him.
It's 12-8, Indiana after 4 minutes. Bobby Knight's Indiana Hoosiers leading Eldon Miller's Buckeyes 12-8. Bobby Knight talking with one of the officials. Now takes a seat. Of course, he was an Ohio State graduate in 1962, participated on the national champion Buckeyes of 1960. That was that Havlicek, Lucas, Milnol team.
Anytime an opponent coach talks to an official, I always walked over and stayed within 3 feet of the conversation.
You want your equal time. Todd Penn, not there.
Oh,
and over the shoulder, Jim Smith fouls for the Buckeyes.
The way Indiana plays their defensive structure to go ahead and really play heavy on the ball side, you see Ohio State throwing the ball all the way across court for those jump shots. It's something a lot of people try to do against them. You will see that push inside. Jim Smith went over the back. Risley got pushed. Good call by the official.
No lineup changes. Same starting fives. 12-8 Hoosiers. We played 4.5 minutes.
Isaiah Thomas, although he's a guard, playing a lot inside.
Ted Kitchell's first shot, and he is a fine pure shooter. 14-8, Indiana.
It's kind of rare, Billy, isn't it, where Indiana's picking up so early up court?
I think Bobby Knight just wants to force tempo completely. Good move. 3-second, too.
Todd Penn setting up Herb Williams, and a foul underneath. It's on Risley, his second.
Penn's not only quick, he's a very powerful young fellow. When he went inside that time, really had a set of legs on him. He was able to battle against the big guys.
Number 24, Randy Whitman, into the Indiana lineup. He's a 6'6 junior from Indianapolis. Guard, but he can play as a swing man.
Mitchell constantly trying to help out on Williams.
Kellogg wide open, misses the shot. Here comes Isaiah Thomas. Lost the handle for a moment. Kitchell open. Rebound Kellogg, knocked away and stolen by Thomas.
Quick hands by Thomas.
Indiana leading by 6. Isaiah, and the foul is on Smith, his second.
I think Isaiah really misjudged how good a defensive player Jim Smith is, because this is a good defensive play here by Smith. Thomas gave him the head fake, Smith staying right with him. And I don't think Isaiah Thomas turned the corner. How about you, Al?
That was a hairline call. He has to have his shoulders around the man. He did not have them around the man then.
Kellogg has his 4th rebound already. He's the leading rebounder for the Ohio State Buckeyes with about a dozen a game. Many on the offensive boards. Rebound Tolbert, he kicked it out of bounds.
Well, Risley's really staying with Clark Kellogg. He might have got him on the arm on that last one, but he's doing a heck of a man-to-man defensive job.
Larry Huggins will trigger it in.
Kellogg wants it down low. He's been a little nervous in there.
Penn threw it away, trying to hit Jim Smith along the baseline. Indiana the other way. Eldon Miller's club has turned it over several times, and it's been costly. Six minutes gone, 14-8, Indiana. This is Randy Whitman. Isaiah Thomas over Huggins. No, he dishes it back out. Isaiah. Good defense by Huggins. Kitchell open.
That's 2.
No, tried to use the board.
Risley scores. Steve Risley has 8 points for the Hoosiers.
And on the other end, he's holding his man, Clark Kellogg, to 0.
Risley lost some weight, 15 pounds. Feels he's a lot quicker. Whistle and a foul on Tolbert. His first. A reminder that News are expecting to break and will follow on the Iranian hostage situation. NBC News will have a direct report as soon as anything definite happens, and we'll be in touch, of course. Follow that story. Let's hope this is the day.
You notice how they just ignore Smith when he gets the ball 15 feet from the basket.
Herb Williams is short. Smith is fouled by Tolbert. So Tolbert picks up 2 fouls in about 15 seconds.
If Ohio State has a serious problem, I think it's their shot selection. This was not a good shot selection.
Well, Smith so far today has been playing more away from the basket than he has underneath the basket as a true pivot man.
Number 15, Carter Scott, comes in for Ohio State, replacing Larry Huggins. Important statistic, Indiana's committed 5 team fouls, Ohio State only 2. At the line, Jim Smith. He is not a good free throw shooter.
This is the fellow, watch him in practice yesterday. He turns his wrist at the top of the shot. Watch it, Billy, if you can. See him? Well, some of them are going to go in, but if you watch the wrist at the top of the shot, Billy, it's bad form. You believe it, don't you believe?
I agree with you. Fundamentally, very poor. You know, this is interesting, too, Dick. He's a 60% shooter from the floor, but he really is not a good shooter. Those are usually around the basket area. Hits 2.
Takes those 2 cleanly. That shows you what we know about hockey. 16 to 10 Indiana.
Good defensive intensity by both of these teams out here. Really playing
Thomas. Todd Penn doing a good job on Isaiah Thomas. Whistle away from the ball. Foul on Kitchell of Indiana. Stay with us right after basketball today. This is a mighty big day of sports on NBC. On Sports World, we had the pleasure of doing that World Professional Figure Skating Championship. You're going to see Linda Fratiani and Dorothy Hamill today. And Coach Al McGuire, you saw Meadowlark Lemon, the Bucketeers, Will Chamberlain. That's a great show, and all of that will be followed by the Desert Classic, Bob Hope Desert Classic. Great golf.
We did it on the aircraft Kitty Hawk in San Diego. Very interesting.
Smith can't hit. Kellogg rebound. Still hasn't scored. Williams can't score. Smith misses. 4 chances for Ohio State. They come up empty. Isaiah Thomas.
Boy, this is great defense on the part of both of these ball players.
Unbelievable. That baseline for Ohio State, they're just mountains, each one of them.
Herb Williams. He cuts Indiana's lead to 16-12. First points for Williams.
And Dick, that was the first time that Williams really got settled in the pivot position. He's been playing in the perimeter.
I like the movement offensively on Indiana. I think they're perking today.
Both teams are 2-1 in the conference. They were the preseason favorites in the Big Ten Conference. Randy Whitman. Risley. Herb Williams with a reject. Here comes Carter Scott.
They'll wait for the aircraft carriers to come down.
They need to get it back in. They've got 2 on Tolbert already.
Williams. Smith rebounds. Kellogg. And finally it's Kitchell and a foul on Jim Smith.
Bobby Knight is up, and he's trying to get his club to go. You'll see the play down the other end of the court right here. Smith just banging the ball. They're just physically knocking Indiana right off the court now, and Bobby Knight doesn't like it.
Timeout, 11 minutes remaining in the first half. The Hoosiers lead by 4.
Well, Ohio State has started out slow, but the Buckeye big men are picking up the pace. There's a lot more action to come when CSTV's Retrovision continues.
That seems like an innocent statistic, but 3 of those 4 Ohio State turnovers became baskets for Indiana. And the Hoosiers lead by 4, 16-12, 11 minutes left in the half. Jim Smith, however, the big Buckeye forward, has committed his 3rd personal foul, so he has been replaced. Granville Waiters, a 6'11 sophomore from Columbus, wearing number 13 in the lineup for the Buckeyes.
Well, Smith's important. He does the grunt work.
Kitchell,
Oh, he
air
really
ball.
pulled the string on that one.
Williams stolen by Whitman. And right back to Kellogg.
Nice.
Beautiful pass to Waiters, traveling.
Yep, I've got to say it. He took Chinese steps.
Those little shuffling steps. There it is again.
Great play by Whitman. Everybody ran away from the ball. Kellogg made an excellent pass down in there, and Waiters did. He tried to get himself organized and walk.
Nice steal by Kellogg. And Thomas gets it back. And a foul's going to be called on Carter Scott. He had a hammer lock on Isaiah Thomas.
I thought he was having a love affair there.
Now we talk about the physical play in the Big Ten. Great hands by Kellogg reaching in. Scott's down there. How this could be called anything but a jump ball, I'll never know.
Oh, no, Billy.
Come on, they were
He
both
had a
grabbing each
saddle.
other.
It was riding the guy in the back. A jump ball.
Jump ball.
10.5 minutes left in the first half. Isaiah Thomas. Both teams go. Look at that. Kellogg ripped down the rebound. Scott. Penn. Ohio State with a bucket could move within 2. Carter Scott. He was fouled. Randy Whitman of Indiana, his first.
Nice double pump by Scott, who last year teamed up with Ramsey to be one of the best backcourts that we saw all year.
Carter Scott may be the key to the entire Ohio State season. He was a starter last year, but he's been finding it rather rough this year. He scored only 8 points in the last 3 games and has been benched. Penn starting today.
Well, he's missing Kelvin Ramsey. Ramsey was a great player. He's the second leading scorer in Ohio State history. Obviously, Jerry Lucas is number 1, and he's playing great pro ball with the Trailblazers.
Scott pulls the Buckeyes to within 2. It's 16-14 Indiana. We're at the midpoint of this first half. 10:03, 10:02. 10 minutes left. Whitman right through the hands, and Kellogg comes up with it again.
Oh, what dribbling for a big man.
Carter Scott, we've got a new game.
Kellogg really showed something. What a quality player. Took it the length of the floor and made the good day.
And the game is even.
He's done everything but score.
Risley misses. Tolbert keeps it alive to Kitchell. And Kitchell puts the Hoosiers back in front. He has 4 points.
Well, other than that jumper that Kitchell made early, IU has not shot well from the outside at all.
Scott knocked away by Kitchell. Here comes Thomas with Whitman. Dunk. Isaiah. 20-16. 4 for him. Well, that quieted the crowd in a hurry, didn't it?
Al, I really think with Ray Talbot having 2 fouls on him, it'd be smart for Ohio State to try to get Williams the ball down low a little bit, put some pressure on Indiana foul-wise, with Smith out of the game.
Williams traveling.
He's playing at a forward position almost.
Don't forget, next Sunday, Super Sunday on NBC, the Super Bowl from New Orleans, the Eagles and the Raiders, but we also have a great basketball game for you. After NBC Sports World, you'll see these Ohio State Buckeyes at Virginia. The Cavaliers, Giants center Ralph Sampson. That's next Sunday, Super Sunday, with a pregame show at 4, and then at 6 o'clock, it'll be the Raiders and Eagles, and also a chance for you to see a replay. The entire game will be televised at 1 o'clock Eastern time as well. That's all next Sunday on NBC.
That's a big foul by Herb Williams.
Oh, what a steal by Kellogg to Penn. Touchdown.
He might not have had any points so far today, but he's been the man of the hour.
20-18 to score. Penn leads the Buckeyes with 6. Kitchell not there. Look at that Kellogg. A wild man on the board.
Like a vacuum cleaner today.
And this may be the difference between him this year and last year. He tried to make a sensational play after a rebound like that last year.
Williams saves. Kellogg looking for his first points.
Nothing there.
Well guarded by Risley. Ohio State looking for a tying basket. Oh! Carter Scott hits again. It's even at 20 with 7:45 left in the half.
Do you know how many games both teams have lost? It doesn't seem possible. They look like number 1 and 2 2 team in the country so far in the first 13 minutes.
Buckeyes are 7-4. Indiana 9-6 coming in.
Boy, I can just imagine the NCAA tournament this year. 48 of these clubs get together.
NBC will have it all for you right down to the final game in Philadelphia in late March. Deflected out of bounds by Kellogg. Indiana's ball.
Here we're going to see Clark Kellogg inside. Beautiful defensive play. Grabs the ball and throws it the length of the floor. That pass was about 80 feet.
Tied at 20, 7:15 left before the half. Reminder, gentlemen, we'll be picking the most valuable player of the game scholarship award, $1,000 from Chevrolet. That'll be later in the game.
Dick, Ohio State goes to the zone for the first time, 2-3 zone. First time either team has done anything other than play tough man-to-man.
Tolbert goes into the corner and gives Indiana a 22-20 lead. Tolbert's 4th point.
That's the way to discourage a zone.
That's right, but I think to the way Indiana's been shooting, particularly now that they've got Turner in the game and Tolbert, with Kitchell out there, that zone might be effective.
Kellogg still has been shut out, and a rebound goes to Tolbert. 22-20 Indiana. Indiana has never trailed in this game. Twice it's been tied.
They just gave him the zone one time down the floor. They're back to man now.
Landon Turner, 32 of the ball, and for the first time, Risley, Isaiah, over Todd Penn, tough shot, rebound, Williams.
He's in trouble. Everybody ran away from him. Tough thing to do for a big guy.
Clark Kellogg, sophomore from Cleveland.
6'7", he's dribbling between his legs.
He's a big 6'7", too, isn't he? Williams inside
Beautiful.
the Waiters, and he misses.
Boy, that was a well-conceived play, though. That hands.
They like to do that. Lob over. 22-20 Indiana. 5:45 left first half. Whitman, 15-footer, and Indiana leads by 4. Randy Whitman's first basket.
Carter Scott committed himself that time defensively and really got burned.
Indiana's biggest lead was 8 at 16-8. And Ohio State rattled off 8 straight points to tie at 16. Whistle away from the ball.
3 seconds on Irvin Williams.
You know, Isaiah Thomas cannot curtail Todd. Todd's too quick on that first step.
He has a blazing first step.
I'm surprised that Indiana isn't reverting around and letting Isaiah Thomas post him up underneath.
Well, they tried that early by inverting, but without a guy like Kitchell in the game, they don't have the shooters to come back outside now.
Todd Penn working on Thomas. There they are again. Oh, bad pass by Thomas to Landon Turner. Bobby Knight does not like to see that kind of play. And he might go to the bench right now. He said he's going to change Isaiah.
No, I don't think so. He didn't show any facial reaction to it. Isaiah looked over, and I think Isaiah's trying too hard.
You're right. He's going to stay with this lineup. 24-20, Indiana leads. Buckeyes with the ball. And there's another turnover. Deflected pass. Tolbert will hold it up. Thomas. Turner. Whitman. Foul. Huggins. Ohio State.
Good D. Hit him on the way up.
Dick, now we have Ohio State with a very small club on the floor, and Indiana has their biggest club on the floor with Turner and Landon Turner and Ray Tolbert out there. Ohio State brought in Kirchner, so they're quite a bit smaller now. We'll see a lot of difference on the rebounding.
Bobby Knight looking at Randy Whitman, looking for his 5th point. Whitman, good free throw shooter, 75% on the year. He's a junior from Indianapolis, Ben Davis High School.
He was redshirted last year because of an injury. You can play up to 6 games in the season. If you get hurt up to the 6th game, you can sit out and get another year. But after the 6th game, if you play and get hurt, it counts as a whole season.
Whitman was hurt in the 5th game, a stress fracture.
Oh, bad shot.
Rebound goes to Risley, and the Hoosiers, leading by 5, are on the attack. Inside to Talbert. Nice move, quick move by Talbert, and it's 27-20.
Very nice.
That's what you said they should do, Billy.
Right, I think that they've got a much superior lineup on the floor right now, particularly in that front line. It shows you what a Jim Smith does when he gets taken out of the ball game with the foul trouble.
Boy, that Thomas almost had a steal.
You notice the white uniforms. When you see white uniforms, that's always the home team. The dark uniforms always the visiting team. So every college team has two sets of uniforms, a home and an away.
Kellogg scores. His first basket comes at the 3:48 mark. One exception to that was Marquette. You had so many colors on your uniforms, it's tough to tell which
There'll be still a light uniform. Some people might understand that.
Right. Turner, a tough shot. Kellogg has a man wide open. Todd Penn. Hello. 27-24. Penn has 8 points.
You gotta watch him. He's releasing early, figuring that they got the rebound off a shot. Indiana has to get the second shot.
He's got 8, and Kellogg's responsible for 3 of those baskets.
Randy Whitman forces the shot, and it's rebounded. Number 50 just in the game for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, Randy took a bad shot at that time. He knew it. He overreacted. That's how come he fouled the guy.
He's going to be coming out.
Cliff Kirshner, who is a 6'9 junior from Euclid, Ohio, that rebound and forced the foul. Here it is.
Here we see him coming in. Really nothing available right there. He tried to pump it. He's going to be sitting down. Huggins really doing a good job defensively. Very solid defensive player.
Whitman comes out, and Jimmy Thomas, the starter, is back in. And at the line, Cliff Kirshner. He scored only 4 points all year. This is his first free throw of the season.
And he wishes that he'd get a few more of those.
And he's able to tie up Steve Risley. Jump ball. Kirshner will have the height advantage by an inch.
That was a jump ball, Billy.
Timeout. 3:05 left in the half. Hoosiers by 3.
Well, we've got a tight one going as we near the end of the first half, but you be sure to stay tuned for halftime when we'll be rejoined by Buckeye great Herb Williams. It's all coming up on CSTV's Retrovision. Money!
Little over 3 minutes remaining here at St. John's Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Indiana leading the Buckeyes of Ohio State 27-24. Jump ball, Kirshner. And Risley, and Ohio State will control. Oh, Isaiah almost from the blind side. Is he quick? Huggins scores! Larry Huggins, and the Buckeyes have scored 6 in a row and pulled back within 1. 4 points for Huggins.
Isaiah's trying to post up under there now.
I tell you, I really like the defensive intensity in this Ohio State club. Indiana also, but they're fundamentally very sound defensively. Look at there's Huggins reaching in. Excellent foot movement. Good body positioning. This is a real clinic out here defensively.
College basketball report at halftime. Risley scores, and he has been a surprising scoring star. 10 points in the first half for Risley.
Bobby Knight going into the pages of Earl Weaver, coming out here with a guy that he feels performs well against Ohio State as he did last year. Palmed it. He turned it over.
He's getting away with that, Billy. He's done it quite a few times. He's so quick.
You know, with his great quickness, they could use a clear out for a guy like Todd Penn because you'd never be able to stay with him one-on-one.
You notice when he gets his hand on the side of the ball, that's what they call palming.
Pretty good acting job. He didn't even touch the big man, and Colbert was leaning back into the ropes. 29-26, Randy Whitman returns to the Indiana lineup. Bobby Knight takes Jimmy Thomas out. Coach McGuire is going to be talking with one of the top high school players, maybe the best player in the country at halftime on our special halftime report, so stay with us. Landon Turner, he has his first basket, and Indiana, just like that, is on top by 5 again.
And Dick, you see they're going inside with those 2 postmen, Turner and Tolbert, and really Kirchner can't handle a guy like Landon Turner in there.
Almost stolen by Turner. Kirchner didn't take advantage.
Randy, you're too close to him. Back up.
Loss of Jim Smith with 3 fouls has hurt the Buckeyes, no question. Herb Williams, triple team, foul on Isaiah Thomas. You know it, second foul on Isaiah.
problem, Billy. I think he thinks he's going to shoot before he gets the ball, and he makes up his mind too soon.
It's a little mechanical, but the thing that I have to question, Al, is that they never get him in the low post position where he can work one-on-one. He seems to be out of the, in that no man's land where he's not a forward, not a center.
Well, if you watch, he in the low post, he hunts for the ball rather than the ball hunting for him. You should get a position and let the ball come around to you rather than you going after the ball. There's no continuity to your play if you do that.
Williams has that is his third point today. He's averaging 17 and a half. So Kellogg and Williams, the top two scorers for the Buckeyes, fairly quiet, only have 5 points between them. And they're averaging nearly 35 between them. 31-28 the score, 1:22 left in the half.
He's a good free throw shooter, 70% shooter for a big man. You want him on the line.
Todd Penn with a steal. Can't convert. Rebound.
Bushi in the game.
54.
Good coaching, Mr. Miller.
Approaching the 1 minute mark, first half. Indiana leads by 3. Landon Turner, short, misses everything. Williams had it knocked away and Kellogg controls.
Todd Penn released early again. Here he is down in the corner.
Turner with a foolish foul, jumping in on Penn.
Hit him in his head with his hip.
Again, we want to point out, because I know a lot of fans like to cheer for the little guy, but you've got a cause to live today, and Todd Penn, he's only 5'9", actually 5'8", we talked with him yesterday, and he is the shortest man in the entire Big Ten. Here he is against Landon Turner, more than a foot taller.
That's great strength, though. Turner came down there and hit him, but Penn is releasing early, and with his great quickness, Ohio State's going to have to keep an eye on it. He's going to break away for some easy ones.
Penn has made the first free throw. Here comes the second to cut the lead to 1.
Watch that press, though. They didn't get the shot.
31-29, Indiana. We'll see if they go for the final shot with 45 seconds left. Jimmy Thomas and a whistle away from the ball, and it's against
Indiana. Blocking. Well, that'll make Bobby Knight really hot because he does not basically teach screens. It's just team movement.
Steve Bushi committed the foul, and that gives Ohio State a chance to tie the game before the final buzzer.
Steve Bucci hasn't played much this year. He got hurt early in the season and was overweight. Now he's starting to work himself back into shape. Also this summer, he got himself married.
Remember, Kirchner last time did not have good form. I said he wanted to go that line a few more times, look better there.
And he can now tie it up. That was only his 5th point all year, 6th point. And it's a new game at 31. Indiana loses its 5-point lead.
There's a good press after the made foul shot again.
Risley brings it down.
Without Isaiah Thomas in the game with 30 seconds, we'll see a little bit of frustration.
Turnover, Kellogg. 22 seconds left, plenty of time for the Buckeyes. They've not led the entire half. They have a chance on their final possession. 10 seconds. Penn foul. Jimmy Thomas of Indiana.
Well, he's a tough kid. Dick, you mentioned his height. How much does Penn weigh? I bet you he's got to weigh about 185. You'll see him right here. A little fullback in there.
Well, they have him down as 5'9", and the SID says that's kind of stretching it.
That's before the haircut.
He's powerful, though, and very, very quick.
Penn is 1 for 2 from the line, and Ohio State leads for the first time today. Rebound Williams, and another foul on Bushi of Indiana. Bobby Knight can't believe it.
There was no block out. The ball took a good bounce for Ohio State. Williams was right there.
So Herb Williams gets a chance to shoot too.
Still plenty of time, 6 seconds to go to get the ball up the court.
33-31. Williams perfect 3 for 3 from the line.
They'll probably press out of bounds here. I'm surprised Isaiah Thomas not in the game to get it up the court quickly.
They got to get the ball to Jim Thomas.
Too late.
They'll get a shot.
Whitman at the buzzer. No good. Tough luck. So Ohio State, to the cheers of this partisan Buckeye crowd, they scored the final eight points of this first half to rally from 5 down to go 3 up. A big halftime show coming up.
Welcome back to CSTV's Retrovision. It's halftime at St. John Arena, and Bobby Knight's Hoosiers are down to Ohio State 34-31. I've been watching the game with one of the best Buckeyes on the court that day, Herb Williams. Herb was one of the first Ohio State players to score more than 2,000 points. He was a first-round NBA draft pick and played 18 seasons in the NBA. He's currently an assistant coach with the Knicks, but today we want to talk about his collegiate career. Herb, you're up 34-31. You're going into the locker room. You know it's going to be hellfire and brimstone in the Indiana locker room with Bobby Knight. What are some of the discussions that might have gone on, and what are some of the adjustments that might have made, and what sort of impact did Coach Eldon Miller try to have on the second half?
Well, first of all, we knew a three-point lead wasn't safe against a Bobby Knight team. And then they came out early, jumped on us. We came back, went up at halftime. So you knew he was going to be fiery. Things were going to be flying in the locker room because he was going to try to get his players up. So we just tried to stay disciplined. You know, Eldon is not a real fiery coach. He came in and tried to explain to us some of the things that we had to do in order to keep the lead and to finish the game out. You know, just stay disciplined, you know, try to work the ball inside and try to play to our strengths.
Bobby Knight, you can't avoid it. You knew a question about Bobby was going to come up. The fire, the intensity, the intimidation, the psychology, the psychosis of Bobby Knight. Sometimes it affects and has a bearing on the final outcome of a game. Do you think it had any significant impact on the second half of this game?
Well, I think at times he intimidates the referees with his screaming, his size. But not only that, one thing you have to realize about Bobby Knight, he's a very good coach. I mean, he's proven that year after year. But the one thing that I like about his teams was that he understood that the ball had to move and players move, and which was very difficult to defend. And he did that with the best of them. There was no shot clock back then. So you may be guarding his offense for 2 minutes, a minute and a half, 3 minutes, and sort of somewhere along the line, you sort of lose a little bit of discipline because you're always getting screen, rear screen, down screen. So you lose a little bit of discipline, and that's when they hurt you.
Isaiah, it would be tough to cover him as a pro or in his collegiate career if you put 3 guys on him. Could you see during his collegiate career that he possessed the skills and the gifts to go on to have the successful NBA career that he had?
Actually, I met Isaiah in high school when we were trying out for the Pan Am Games, and I could see then that he was going to be a great player because he came in as a high school player and he made that Pan American team. So that speaks a lot for him. And then we became pretty good friends. And just some players, when they step on the court, the light shines on them, and then they just take the game to a different level. And that was him. He took over games. He understood the psychology of the game. He was an extension of Bobby Knight. He kept guys in line out there on the court, ran the offense. And then when there's big shots need to be taken or big plays need to be made, he would always step up and make them.
Talk about the difference in the intensity level of play in Division I, especially the Big Ten, but the Division I basketball versus the pros.
In the pros, you don't want to look at the schedule. It's 82 games. Sometimes it's 4 games in 5 nights. And mentally, you get drained. And that's the big thing with the pros is mentally, you get drained from day after day after day. So you try to just get to the next thing that you have to do, whether it be practice or whether it be the next game. In college, you may play 2-3 games a week. So therefore, you're chomping at the bit. Right. You're tired of practicing against each other, tired of beating each other up. So you want to get out there and play. And then the atmosphere of college basketball. I mean, when you step on the court, especially at Ohio State, the students were down on the floor, so it was always noisy in St. John's Arena. And you just waited for that every time it was time for us to play a game. You just couldn't wait. Thanks for joining us to look back at your days in the Big Ten. Now let's get back to the second half, okay? It's Indiana versus OSU right here on CSTV's Retrovision.
Back at St. John Arena, Ohio State leading Indiana 34-31 prior to the start of the second half. 2 teams with great basketball traditions. The Buckeyes won the NCAA title in 1960. Indiana 3 times the champion in 40, 53, and in 76. Billy Packer, there are the official statistics in the first half. Anything grab your eye?
Well, I think the key thing is the fact that both teams down under 50% shooting because of the defense, and individually with Clark Kellogg having 11 of the team's 20 rebounds, he's played a great game even though he hadn't scored a point.
And you saw that Ohio State has the lead because of the free throw shooting.
Oh,
Isaiah Thomas starts the Hoosiers and pulls them within one.
That was a total letdown mentally on the part of the Ohio State team there. They thought they had the tip. Everybody kind of relaxed, and Isaiah Thomas, as usual, kept right in there.
Same starting five for the Buckeyes. That's Todd Penn with the ball. Not there, but Herb Williams is. 36-33 Ohio State. Williams has 8.
That front line is awesome rebounding-wise, and Williams, of course, just took over inside on that one. Let's see what they do with Jim Smith. They put him back up against Kitchell here in the second half. He's got 3 fouls on him. Let's see how long he lasts.
Jimmy Thomas and Isaiah Thomas in the backcourt for Indiana. That's Jimmy with the ball. Kitchell, Risley, who led the Hoosiers in the first half in scoring, and Tolbert. Isaiah Thomas can't hit. That's Kellogg's 12th rebound of the game.
And he just missed Penn, who released early again.
Yeah, they're going to have to keep someone back. I think they should keep Joe Thomas back to cut off Penn at the pass.
They're going to have to.
Joe Thomas, is there another one?
Look at Smith.
Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy Thomas, excuse me. He's from Florida.
Todd Penn.
Oh, Kellogg
gets
again.
it back to Penn and then loses it out of bounds. Let's watch the Kellogg, or is it the Williams
Yeah, this
shot?
is the Williams rebound. There they had 3 men surrounded. He just picked it off and slammed it back through.
Well, he had it back through the basket in a hurry, didn't he?
Well, he had inside position. When you have that, you got the ball. That's all she wrote.
Ohio State switching whenever Indiana screens inside and creates some mismatches occasionally.
Kellogg, but Tolbert saves. Look at that Kellogg work. He told me yesterday that's the part of the game he tried to improve most in the off year. Ted Kitchell makes it 36-35. He has 6 points.
That's what happens an awful lot when you're going to set those inside screens. You lose your man. That's what happened between Smith and Smith on that last one. Smith and Williams.
Smith sets it up for Huggins. Penn to Jim Smith. That's out of his scoring range.
Al said he should only shoot when his other hand can touch the net.
Rick Mason.
Penn in the heavy traffic sets up Smith, 14-footer. Kellogg can't save.
That really is a prayer. He has no confidence in there at all.
Indiana looking for the lead.
They're posting up Jim Smith trying to pick up his 4th foul.
Tolbert outside. Ooh, Isaiah had to stretch to save that one.
Penn giving Isaiah a lot of room. Look for him to go to put up a jumper.
Isaiah blocked beautifully by Kellogg.
He blocked that with his inside arm. Sensational play.
Huggins clear from 20. Tolbert hauls it in for Indiana. The Hoosiers trailing 36-35. 3 minutes gone. Second half. Kitchell.
Smith came close.
Tolbert scores, and it's 37-36 Indiana.
That was good intensity that time by Ray Tolbert.
Talk about intensity. There's a man. Fierce competitor Knight is coach on the sidelines. Williams, Banks, not there. Jimmy Thomas rebounds for the Hoosiers.
Al, you were right when you said Ohio State's shot selection what really gets them in trouble.
Tolbert inside, goaltending. Boy, that, if we could say that when Herb Williams had his hand about a foot above the goal, he was really sweeping it clean.
Well, Jim Smith was up in there too. I think Jim might have dipped into that cone.
Indiana's starting to get really good there. Smith, he went across the lane, smacked the ball away. Good call.
Good shot there in the replay. Ken Fouts, the director. George Finkel, the producer. Statistician Suds Bailey. (39-36). Now it's Indiana's lead cut to 1 as Kellogg rattles one in from the corner.
I know he can fill it up from out there, and I know it went through, but it's not a good shot.
Nope, it sure was. Not with the score being what it is. Then gets caught on Thomas.
Todd Penn, his coach in high school, is now an assistant for Bobby Knight at Indiana.
Now, when you mentioned Bobby Knight before, something flashed through my mind. He is the only coach that has coached an NCAA championship team and also played on an NCAA championship team.
That is a rare double. Isaiah makes it 40-38 Indiana. The Hoosiers lead 41-38, and we have a timeout here at Ohio State. 4 minutes, 9 seconds into the second half. Hoosiers by 3. Usually the team that turns it over least is ahead on the scoreboard, and so it is today as Indiana leads by 3. Ohio State's ball, Huggins and Penn in the backcourt. Front line of Kellogg, Smith, and the center Herb Williams. Kellogg to Penn, and it's a rebound for Risley of Indiana.
Good block-out technique by Indiana there.
Thomas all the way, and he's fouled by Todd Penn of the Buckeyes. His second.
During that last timeout, I think Isaiah Thomas was talking to the official saying, "I'm getting hit on my arm." He was fouled, of course, a long way from the basket, so he won't be shooting.
Thomas, the first ever in the Big Ten history to make all Big Ten as a freshman. Who was argued? Member of the U.S. Olympic team as well, and there he is.
Wow, he went into his whirlaway gear that time.
43-38 for Isaiah's 10th point.
Ohio State needs a basket right here.
Must score. They must score by a guy, the right guy shooting.
Smith holding underneath, and it's on Risley of Indiana.
Here's that overdrive move you're just talking about, Al. Goes in among the trees, put it up with the right hand, had reverse English on the ball and put it back on the board.
He's a magician with the ball. Sometimes you expect him to hide the ball and pull out a rabbit and drop it through there. He's so quick with those hands. Jim Smith. 3 for 3 today, shooting just 58% on the year.
Ever since I talked about his wrist, he's still doing it wrong, but they're going in, so.
Penn's out of the ballgame, Carter Scotty, and now they're trying to do something to slow Isaiah Thomas down a little bit.
Well, Scott sparked the comeback of the Buckeyes in the first half.
Long off the board even.
43-39, Indiana's lead at 4. Jim Thomas. Risley.
Put Huggins on Thomas now.
Isaiah working hard. Back out to Jimmy.
Now they've had a switch. They got Isaiah Thomas on Jim Smith there to get in the ball.
No, Kitchell is wide open as he lost his man, Ted Kitchell.
Little screen away.
Caught Higgins on a high pick. Oh, terrible shot, terrible.
Here comes Isaiah, 2-on-1. Great feed to Jimmy Thomas.
Need a timeout here for Ohio State. Yep, they're going to get one. They need one.
47-39. That matches Indiana's biggest lead of the game. And Isaiah Thomas putting on a clinic in the last 3 minutes.
Big timeout here. Ohio State has really lost it offensively. There's Carter Scott going up. He actually committed the foul, but Ohio State's Indiana's off and running. Good bounce pass. Thomas to Thomas, Nick.
Beautiful angle on that bounce pass. 5 minutes and a half gone in this second half. There's an All-American on the bench for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Shielded a bit, but if we lean around and take a good look, it's number 10. Art Schleister, 10 in football, and now he's on the Ohio State basketball bench. Some feel that before this year is over, he will make a definite contribution to the Buckeyes' attack. Kellogg can't hit. There again, your point, gentlemen, that some of the shots are not well chosen for Ohio State.
Yeah, they got to know who their stars are. I think they got to get into Herb Williams down low in the post, get the ball to Kellogg, start slowing down. They're speeding up the play too much, and they're losing their continuity.
Seems an awful lot, Al, that their guys predetermined when they want to shoot the ball.
Kellogg banks it home. Clark Kellogg has 6 points. 47-41, Indiana. Don't forget to follow Great Sports World Show, skating, Metal Art Lemon, this form of basketball, then the Bob Hope Desert Classic, round 4, all following on NBC. Isaiah can't hit.
Oh, great block by Williams.
Herb Williams stopped Risley.
Oh, the fierce rebounding.
Risley traveling on Risley.
That was caused by Jim Smith. Jim Smith made a tremendous move in there that time.
Absolutely fierce rebounding by Williams and Smith.
Oh, weight distance.
Both coaches were on their feet unhappy about that exchange. 47-41, Ohio State trails.
Oh, block.
Jimmy Thomas took it away from Scott, but can't save it.
Hold it now. Ohio State, go down low. Just go down low, get the ball inside, and that's all she wrote. There you are.
Kellogg way short. Off Kitchell of Indiana.
Everybody's so nervous in that Ohio State team to get off the shot, and I think when they cross half court, they say, hey, this is mine. I'm going to make a turnaround jumper this time. And there's no smooth motion out there. There's the shot going up. Look at them battling it.
Back to live action. Kellogg hammers a 20-footer, and it's 47-43. Kellogg has 6 points in the second half.
Risley did a job on him in the first half, but Kellogg really getting rolling now. Bobby Knight up on the officials.
So's Eldon Miller. They're both starting to work the officials now.
Jimmy Thomas. Almost stolen by Kellogg, so Risley will gun.
That's got to be a foul over the back by Tolbert.
Carter Scott to Kellogg.
Where's he going?
Trying to do too much.
Trying to do a Magic Johnson.
Jimmy Thomas took it away. Isaiah, not there.
Blocked by
Kellogg
Smith.
has it back. Kellogg's going to wind up with 20 boards in this game. Ohio State can pull within 2 with a hoop. Good defense away from the ball.
Tough basketball.
Herb Williams. Rebound Thomas.
Come on, fellas, go down inside the paint.
Ohio State looks tired. Kitchell. Carter Scott. No advantage. Going to shoot anyway.
Not a good shot there
Boy,
again.
Playground ball.
We call that blacktop ball.
Bobby Knight wants a timeout too. Both teams getting totally away from their game plan offensively.
And both appear to be a bit tired. 8 minutes gone in the second half. Indiana 47, Ohio State 43.
Indiana holds a 4-point lead, but Ohio State's hanging tough. We've got plenty more second half action still to come. You're watching CSTV's Retrovision. Old Wrestling.
(47-43). Indiana leads while we're away. No basket scored. 1 foul. Isaiah Thomas can't hit. Rebound, Risley. And it drops in for Indiana. And the Hoosiers lead by 6. There's 1 foul called while we were away on Larry Huggins of Ohio State. A non-shooting foul, and so you didn't miss a thing. Herb Williams can't hit. That'll be traveling against Indiana's Tolbert as he pulled the ball free, lost his balance.
He came out of there like a fight in the saloon.
Indiana scoring, well-balanced. Risley 10, Tolbert 10, Isaiah Thomas 10. Penn leads Ohio State with 10, with Williams and Kellogg 8 apiece.
Real problem for Ohio State here in the second half has been shot selection. That caused them a lot of problem. You can see here 36%. They really have had no organized offense other than Kellogg hitting an isolated jumper here or there. They never can get, it seems like, Williams in the flow of the game offensively.
Well, it's like I said earlier, Billy, I do think he follows the ball instead of the ball coming after him. See?
Of course, another thing that helps is the fact that defensively, the fact that Jim Smith's not going to make a shot.
Now that was a good shot selection and a well-worked play, and Ohio State gets it back. Kellogg wound up with a 15-footer, just didn't connect, but he had a good chance at one. Scott, nice shot. Carter Scott has 8 points.
He'll be working his way back into the starting lineup. They need his offensive power.
He's a good athlete.
He was a center in high school at 6'3". Team went unbeaten as a senior. Indiana by 4 as we approach the midpoint of the second half. 10 minutes, 20 seconds left. Kitchell. Oh, rejected by Big Jim Smith. Thomas controlling. Well, Indiana likes to overload one side.
Good patience.
On that weak side of the court, they're picking and banging. The refs wanted to blow the whistle. They can blow it every 5 seconds.
There's good patience here, though. They get organized for a decent shot and don't hit it, but it was good organization.
Carter Scott rebounds for the Buckeyes. No advantage. Scott wants it. Forces it. Jim Thomas rebounds. Indiana has the 3-on-1. Isaiah. And a foul on Davis, his 4th. 4 fouls, rather on Jim Smith. And that's a critical whistle for Ohio State.
Eldon has already made the move.
Here you see Isaiah gets caught under there. Good hands by Huggins, almost getting a piece. Here's Smith coming down, slaps the ball away. I really don't think that was, as much bang has been going on, I didn't think that was much of a foul.
So Smith takes a seat with 4 fouls, replaced by Granville Waiters, number 13. Smith has 5 points, but he is a defensive star, and they'll miss his services at that end of the court.
But Dick, remember Ohio State made a comeback with this lineup in there earlier in the first half.
That's right, Bill. 49-45, Indiana with the ball and the lead. 9 minutes left in the game. Isaiah, back out to Talbot. We're only 2 weeks into the season, and every Big Ten team has already lost once. Sets balance from top to bottom. Wide open is Talbot.
Beautiful offensive maneuver there. And Dick, talking about the Big Ten, Ohio State beat Iowa at Iowa, which has got to be one of the big breakthroughs of the year in this particular conference. And then Iowa goes up to Michigan and blows them out up there. So people can really play.
Turnover through the hands of Williams to Talbot.
Oh, watch out.
Oh, my!
Ray, unbelievable. I really believe that Ohio State needs Todd Penn in there to run the show. He's doing a good job. He's been sitting on the bench a little bit too long. They've got to get him back in.
Let's see Ray Talbot. He's 6'9". He looks 7'9" on this one.
Well, Williams should have caught that ball. I thought there was going to be a body collision here because Carter Scott wasn't going to give up. Great play.
Looked like he went up the ladder another rung in the last stride. For his analysis of this dunk, our expert in that faculty, Coach Al McGuire.
All right, here comes a tomahawk dunk. He leaves about a foot inside the foul line. He goes up. I would have done a 360 right here, but he can't do that. Zip, right through.
You notice how Al's feeling his oats yesterday, Dick. We ought to announce it on national TV. For the first time ever, he beat somebody shooting fouls. Eldon Miller can't even look the crowd in the face today, Al.
Al was great.
He's
5
embarrassed.
for 5. By the way, he's fresh from accepting award for our executive producer, Don Ohlmeyer. Jack Quinlan Award at a big Notre Dame banquet in Chicago over the weekend. You love being with those Irish, don't you?
If they pay well.
Another turnover. Thomas comes up with a loose ball as Kellogg could not handle the pass. It's 53-45 and a rash of mistakes by the Buckeyes.
They've got Penn back in the lineup, so now with the exception of Kirchner, who was in that lineup when he made that run at the end of the first half, this is their best lineup so far today.
Yeah, for today, I think they had to get the little guy back in.
53-45, Indiana leads, 7.5 minutes remaining. 8 points matches the biggest lead today for the Hoosiers.
Indiana using the clock as well as making sure they get a good shot after this timeout.
Trying to spread it out a little bit more. They like to isolate with Isaiah. Try to go one-on-one with Todd.
They want an easy one inside. There it is.
Kitchell blocked by Kellogg, and a foul. That'll be on Herb Williams. Second foul on the center, all Big Ten center Williams, who led the conference in rebounding the last 2 years.
Real nice pass inside. And you see with all that inside screening, you got a situation where Kitchell at 6'8" was teamed up against Carter Scott 6'2.5", 6'3". So that was the pass they were waiting for.
Williams goes out, and Jim Smith comes in. Smith, reminder, has 4 fouls on him.
Bobby Knight would like to see Ray make these 2 foul shots because a 10-point lead puts you in the comfort zone.
particularly the way Ohio State's been shooting.
7:08 left in the half. Talbert, he has really sparked this second half surge by the Hoosiers. It remains a 9-point lead, 54-45.
Biggest basket of the game, right here. Buckeyes got to come up.
Huggins, not there. Carter Scott and the Sequoias makes the play and is fouled by Jim Thomas.
He's a great athlete, and Al, you pointed that out earlier. We noticed that last year. He can get up in the air.
Don't forget, folks, next Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, the Eagles and Raiders, 6 o'clock Eastern time, but tune in early at 1 o'clock NBC Sports World. College basketball, Ohio State and Virginia, 2 o'clock Eastern time. Big day next Sunday on NBC. Huggins gets it back. Penn can't hit. Oh, the Buckeyes are ice cold.
There was another case, Dick, when Kellogg had the ball the last time. You could just see it in his eyes. He was going to figure out a way to get off some kind of shot, and everybody else standing around watching.
54-45, Indiana. Clock down to 6.5 minutes remaining.
Starting to use that clock, Al.
Yeah, starting to milk it a little bit.
Yep.
They got to be careful. Don't want to kill that momentum. There's too much time left. Trying to isolate Isaiah again.
Got Carter Scott again with Kitchell down inside.
Playing Talbert high a lot to keep Williams away from the iron.
Got Smith on him now. So you can see they're trying to get Kitchell down there with Carter Scott somehow.
Another problem for Ohio State, they've committed 16 fouls. Indiana only 3, so any foul will send the Hoosiers to the free throw line.
There it is.
Kitchell, easy to...
Oh,
he
he
missed it. Herb Williams gets the rebound.
They set it up very well, and Kitchell just couldn't hit it.
And Rebel handling it. Kellogg. Tough fall away. Misses everything. Talbert rebounds. Foul Kellogg.
It would be a one-on-one. He reached in. A little bit out of frustration more than anything else.
Down to 5:24. Ohio State has not scored in over 5 minutes.
Well, I would say that coming down the next time, that Herb Williams will get the ball on the blocks. What do you think, Billy?
I think that's what they should be doing, and I think they should have been doing that from the beginning to put some pressure on. The guy is a heck of a center, but he never touches the ball down in the pivot area.
Well, there comes the double digits. Now they're up 10 points. It's a psychological thing to be ahead of someone by 10 points.
And Talbert, the leading scorer of the game, looking for his 17th.
He's played a fine game defensively, offensively, off the boards. He hustles all the time. Real quality basketball player.
Ohio State, facing its biggest deficit of the game, calls timeout. The Buckeyes need to work some offensive magic. They've been shut out for over 5 minutes and have fallen behind Indiana by 11. 5:20 left, 56-45 Indiana.
Isaiah and the Hoosiers are clamping down on the Buckeyes, who are scoreless over the last 5 minutes. Stick around to see if Ohio State can rally with time running out. There's more Indiana-Ohio State action to come when CSTV's Retrovision continues. Come on, baby. Come on. You want a piece of me? Come on.
I can't recall, gentlemen, a quieter home crowd than the one we're witnessing at Ohio State today.
I'd have to agree with you, Dick. There's that shooting percentage again, 32%. You know, and as much as I like Jim Smith's ability defensively, it really hurts when he has no threat to score whatsoever beyond 5 feet. Puts 2 men on Williams all the time, which makes him totally ineffective as a pivot man.
Todd Penn, boy, they're just not coming close. Jim Thomas rebounds for Indiana.
Well, they're doing right now. They got Jim Smith and Herb Williams low. I mean, they're both of them low, swinging for one another. They just got to kick the ball in there, punch it in.
There you got Kitchell again inside on Scott. Scott really pounding, trying to get it. Notice Kitchell's playing the post, everybody else outside.
Talbert to Jim Thomas. To show you how lean the second half has been for Ohio State on its home court. We've played now 15 minutes and 20 seconds. Ohio State has scored 11 points.
Now Carter Scott, due to the switch, is put on Risley. Let's see if they try to put Risley under the basket.
Isaiah Thomas, we have a jump
5
ball,
seconds.
5 seconds. Todd Penn, good defense. Thomas will figure to gain the tap. He has a 5-inch advantage.
I would say look for back tap. The tap will go between number 30 and 34.
Now,
All right,
well,
good
Smith just
adjustment.
moved.
Now it'll go to 30. Isaiah, back tap to 30. Attaboy.
Oh, Huggins could have had that ball if he'd have gone after.
Oh,
Coach, you're a genius. Did
oh,
you ever think
when
about
I
that?
used to coach. They didn't pay me enough money.
Oh, Smith put down Kitchell. Kitchell, I don't know if he's not out on his feet. He really took a shot in the head. He's all right.
56-45 Indiana. The lob pass. Penn with a fine try, but can't control.
And Bobby Knight's telling Ray Talbot, no, we don't need that. They've got an 11-point lead. Really a little bit too much of a risk on that pass.
Well, there's 4:05 left. The clock is closely becoming the opponent rather than Ohio State.
11-point lead. Jimmy
Nice.
Thomas to Kitchell. He misses. Thomas can't score. Tipped out by Williams. Huggins brings it down. Ohio State has to score.
Got to score this time. They got to get it to Herb Williams.
But see, there's Kitchell over. They're going to double team on it.
Herb Williams scores. No basket.
Oh.
Foul against Williams. So they finally get a hoop, but off a foul charged against Williams.
Well, you can see how frustrated this big 2 is. See, Kitchell, he's not even guarding Smith. He's over here in the double team, just keeping his eye. Now they go Thomas back into him. Just a little touch. Ray Talbot acting a little bit there.
Talbot has been a good offensive, defensive, and dramatic player today.
He deserves an Emmy.
With all the banging around, you know you can't knock him down.
.46-45, Isaiah taking his time. A little scroll here in Columbus.
Go! IU! Go! IU!
Number 45, Marcus Miller is in the game guarding Thomas.
That's a 5-second call. Close.
Kellogg chasing Risley. 3.5 minutes left, 3:20 now. Miller, a good defensive player. And how does this one go? Against Ohio State.
Well, the fans are not going to like that one, but he really never did have position on Isaiah Thomas here. Watch this reverse dribble. Coming back. See, he got him with a knee. Good call.
It was a good call. And Isaiah Thomas at the line. Billy is sharp today.
He's been eating carrots. His eyes have gotten better.
Isaiah has his 11th point. 79 gold medal Pan Am team coached by Bobby Knight. And Thomas, then a high school senior, then last year a member of the U.S. Olympic team after his freshman year at IU. And that's the biggest lead of the game for the Hoosiers. And this is going to be a very big win for them on the road. That'll give them 2 road wins, Iowa and Ohio State.
Not over yet. There's a lot of time left.
Carter Scott gets 2 of them back.
They're still plugging, picking up full court.
Pressure up court. Got to turn him over here someplace.
That's what they need. Look at Talbot, the big man. He coolly brings it up. Not challenged at all by Williams. Clock running for Indiana. They lead by 11.
Notice the backdoor cuts made by Indiana here. Every time somebody's overplayed, they're heading back door.
Risley, good job.
Keep the ball in Isaiah's hands.
2:30 left. Thomas, not there. Kitchell. Rebound, Kellogg.
Score now, Ohio State, and call a timeout.
Carter Scott hits again.
Call a timeout right now. All right, now they're in the ball game. There's 2 minutes, 11 seconds left.
Carter Scott has certainly sparked this comeback. Not as challenging as Eldon Miller would like it to be, but they're within 9.
You know, I was speaking to Bobby Knight about 5 minutes before post time. I just wanted to say hello to him about something because I'm speaking at the university tomorrow night. When I was leaving the locker room, he said, say hello to my mother. And so, hello, Mrs. Knight.
The guy that Bobby Knight wants handling this ball as much as possible the rest of the way, Isaiah Thomas. There he is.
He neutralizes all pressure. Up.
Got tripped.
Oh, jump ball. Everyone here, the Ohio State crowd thought it was traveling, so did I.
Oh, no, he got tripped, Dixie, baby.
Yeah, he got tripped first by Carter Scott.
And it may be more serious than that. Isaiah is in some pain, whether or not that's just he's holding his hand, but it may just be the groin injury, and that's just that pain that comes with a blow to the groin. And while we have a moment, let's award our most valuable player today. Ray Talbert of Indiana has played an outstanding game at both ends of the court. Number 45, $1,000 scholarship, and his name goes to Indiana University.
Here's him neutralizing the press. He cuts up here. Now watch him right there. Gets tripped. Down he goes. Loses possession. Still scrambling.
Indiana gets it back, however.
Referee's got to get out of the way.
And a foul on Huggins of Ohio State. Stops the clock with 1:55 left. And there's our MVP. Congratulations to Indiana University and their fine senior star, Ray Talbert.
Boy, did Isaiah go upstairs in that last jump ball.
I think we talk about the balance around the country. You talk about Indiana having 6 losses coming in this game. Some of the teams that have beaten them, you don't hear a lot about. Pan American. You know, there's a club that's really played well. So many teams around the country can play basketball.
Pan American also beat Marquette.
It's a 10-point Indiana lead, 59-49. Carter Scott showing his speed. He likes that shot from the off wing. Huggins can't hit. Kellogg can't hit. Tips good. Marcus Miller. Marcus Miller's first hoop. Randy Whitman saves that dangerous long pass with 1:28 left.
That was a smart move, though. That's a smart move for Isaiah Thomas to throw it the length of the floor with a little arc on it.
59-51 Indiana, and a whistle and a foul. Huggins. 4 fouls on Larry Huggins.
Buckeyes are really putting out 100%, trying to stay in here, trying to turn the game around.
At the line is Jimmy Thomas. Unique under Bobby Knight in that it's the first player Knight has recruited out of the Indiana, Ohio, Illinois area. Every player that he's recruited has been out of a 3-state area. Thomas from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Well, Jimmy, both his parents are graduate from the University of Indiana from the graduate school.
So even at that, there was a solid link. And he drops 2 in Cooley. It's again a 10-point Indiana advantage with 1:16 left.
That's just a throw.
Huggins and Thomas, a good rebound. I got a man wide open.
Nice pass.
Isaiah, he was looking for a 3-point play. That should be the frosting with 1 minute left. 63-51 Hoosiers. Carter Scott, uncontested. Herb Williams slams it home, and a foul is called on Talbert.
How long you going to wait before you give the ball to Herb Williams?
56 seconds left. Hoosiers 63, Buckeyes 53. A reminder to follow. Dorothy Hamill, you'll see that darling. 76 Olympic Games, and she won the gold medal on NBC Sports World. Also see Linda Fratiani, Basketeers, Meadowlark Lemon, Will Chamberlain, and the Bob Hope Desert Classic. Some great scores being shot out there. It's been a beautiful winter. Horses are playing very fast. That's one of the top tournaments of the year. I know many of you are waiting when you sit in this frigid climate of the Midwest and East. You look out at that 80-degree sunshine. That alone makes it interesting. And we have a doubleheader next Saturday, Billy. While we're off to New Orleans to join Merlin Olsen for the Super Bowl, the 2 basketball games, you and Al will be joined by Charlie Jones on Saturday.
Right.
You know that game?
Right. Notre Dame, Maryland. I've seen both of those clubs play. Digger's trying to get his team geared for the NCAA tournament. He says he likes to play on the road against tough people. Got upset out at San Francisco. Maryland won a big game yesterday against Clemson. A lot of talent.
Sunday, a big one, too. We'll see Ohio State at Virginia.
Virginia's undefeated as of the moment, but they've got to go to Clemson tomorrow night. That's a tough place to win.
Ralph Sampson, the great center of the Cavaliers, will be featured. That'll be on Super Bowl Sunday, a week from today. Herb Williams looking for the 3-point play. He's got it, 15, make that 13 points for Williams.
Dick, in that Sports World show coming up, it's the Bucketeers, Meadowlark Lemons Bucketeers.
And pass.
But Thomas saves it.
Boy, that was a big save for IU because Ohio State's still working tough on defense.
Marcus Miller with a foul, and that'll send Isaiah to the line.
key thing here, Al, don't you think, as opposed to trying to make the big play, get the ball over half court, get reorganized, and use up the rest of that 42 seconds.
Yeah, and if you're being pressured, that means if two men got you, then an off man calls a timeout. We call that a wild timeout. Normally, all timeouts are called through the coach on the bench. At the end of a game, you allow what you call a wild card timeout. That means a man that is not handling the ball watches the guy that is handling the ball. As he gets into a pressure situation, he goes over to the official and he says, timeout.
Todd Penn returning to the lineup. You saw Isaiah Thomas, 15 points. That's exactly his average this year. And he's a perfect 6 for 6 from the line today. 11-point lead for the Hoosiers with only 40 seconds left. Carter Scott not there. Jim Thomas, another rebound for Indiana. Double team and foul.
Back to shot selection. They need three-point plays. They need plays inside, not wild-hair jumpers from all over the perimeter.
They lost the game at the top of the second half. Beginning of the second half, they came out kind of lackadaisical. They had a 3-point lead, and they never got back into the rhythm of the game.
It's interesting to point out here are two outstanding teams and how they could lose so many, but you consider the quality of competition. Ohio State has lost to Kentucky by 6. South Alabama, team you like, Gal, by 9. Arizona State beat them rather handily and was also defeated by Purdue. Indiana was 6 losses, but by 2 points to Kentucky, 4 to Notre Dame, 9 to Carolina, 1 to Clemson, Pan American by 6, and Michigan in overtime earlier this week. So 6 losses, but in every game.
In every game, and probably every one of those teams will be in the NCAA playoffs, or have a good chance for it.
Pan American is located down in Edinburgh, Texas. Dave Lemons used to be the coach there.
Uh-oh, they lost the ball. Kitchell was trying to go ahead and take the ball out of bounds. Colbert handed it to him.
You should
Bobby
never
Knight
take
wants
the
a timeout. He's
Billy,
really hot.
You should never take the ball out of bounds under the basket because you can't throw the ball all the way down because you'll hit the backboard.
39-year-old Bobby Knight, even though his team is ahead by 9 points, is not a very happy man. Elsewhere on NBC today, Louisville in the second half, leading Missouri 59-45. Denny Crum's national champions certainly have struggled this year, but many feel they'll find a way to get into the tournament.
Oh, they're
coming around now.
They'll win the Metro, I believe.
Yep.
But when you see Bobby Knight jump up here and go into kind of volatile type of action there with 20 seconds left in the game and the 11-point spread, Bobby, when he coaches against the game. And when he doesn't get whatever he's looking for in the perfection of it, he'll call a timeout. There's 30 points, or he'll get a technical, even if there's a 30-point spread. No way should a ball player ever take the ball out from under the basket.
Next to Bobby, to the right on camera, is Brad Bamba, Dr. Brad Bamba, the team physician. Carter Scott makes the hook at 67-58. Bamba was a great football star at Indiana back in the 50s, and now on the Hoosier bench accompanying Bobby Knight. Billy, while we have you here and fresh from covering a game yesterday in the Atlantic Coast Conference, reminder, stay tuned. We've got Big Sports World and Bob Hope Desert Classic. How about the ACC? Wake Forest unbeaten. How long do you figure that might last?
Well, they're going to play against the University of North Carolina Wednesday night. That's going to be, of course, a big game. Just like in the Big Ten, every game seems to be a big one because not everybody's going to go in the NCAA playoffs. So many of the teams are quality players, have quality players. I think Wake Forest is a team that's for real. I think they're really a quality basketball team. Whether or not they can stay up number 5 or 4, I don't know, but they are a quality basketball team.
They have a Johnson. It's been a year for Johnson. You think if Magic had stayed at Michigan State, he'd be a senior. Johnson at Wake Forest, the guard has been the difference. Oregon State's big guy, Steve Johnson. And missing another Johnson. Oh, and Illinois has a Johnson at forward.
An excellent player.
What's ever happened to
You
the
can call
McGuire?
me Ray. You can call me, we get that.
67-58, Indiana here at Ohio State. It's academic now, only 15 seconds left. Talbert fouled by Williams. 13 seconds remain. Hoosiers next week will play Iowa at home, big game, and then at Northwestern. Ohio State has a tough week ahead. They have to go to Minnesota, then play Michigan at home, and then to Virginia next Sunday. Yesterday's scores, Maryland winning over Clemson. That was an overtime win and a big one at Clemson.
The Connecticut team is coming on up in the East.
They've lost only once this year.
Well, they got that transfer from Kentucky, Alex Zenas.
Right.
They got a great forward in Corny Thompson, another great forward in McKay. And they got the point guard, so they have to be watched.
Todd Penn guns. Kellogg, who's had not a big offensive game. And for Clark Kellogg, that's only his 10th point of the game. He had 42 on Thursday night. The game is over. Bobby Knight congratulates Eldon Miller.
With this win, Isaiah and the Hoosiers grabbed the top spot in the Big Ten Conference. Bobby Knight and Indiana continued their success that year by taking the Big Ten title and defeating Dean Smith's North Carolina Tar Heels for the 1981 National Championship. Herb, it was a tough loss. You guys had a difficult time containing Isaiah and Tolbert, who went on to be the MVP. If you were to make adjustments that could have resulted in a victory for the Buckeyes rather than a defeat, what might it have been?
Take those two guys off the court.
And put them on your team, right?
And put them on our team.
Good answer, Ben.
I think in the second half we started to miss shots. We got a little frustrated, so we started taking bad shots, and they took advantage of that. Bobby Knight's teams are always disciplined, and they were disciplined that day.
That is for sure. Tell me a little bit in closing about the innocence and the purity and the joy, the pure joy of your NCAA collegiate basketball career. How do you reflect on that for me?
Well, I mean, there's no money involved. There's no side issues. And you're just playing for the love of the game. And also, as we talked about before with the students, you see them walking across the campus. You live in the dorm with them, and game time they're down there cheering for you. So it's just you just get up, the goosebumps on you all the time. You're just excited to play day after day. And college you always look forward to that. I miss that more than anything else.
It's funny, CSTV has a tagline, they can't be traded, they can't go on strike. It's not about the money, it's about the passion. And they're talking about NCAA collegiate amateur competition. And it's so true, right?
Yes, it is. And game after game, whether it's college, whether there's any sports in collegiate sports, it's all about the game. It's all about the love of the game, and that's sometimes what you miss with the pros, because there's a lot of side issues dealing with money and other issues. But in college sports, it's always about the game.
Hey, Herb, by the way, congratulations on your NCAA Division I football title this year. Claret, he's a bad boy, huh?
He's tough.
Yeah.
They're tough. The Buckeyes are good.
The proud alma mater. Hey, thank you so much for joining us.
And thanks for having me.
Yeah, all right. And thank you for watching, okay? I'm Billy Baldwin, and this is CSTV's Retrovision. For more information, log on to CSTV.com. This has been a presentation of CSTV College Sports Television, the new home of college sports.